Much. We're now going to talk to two of the six men trying to decide all this, meeting behind closed doors on Capitol Hill. Congressman Dave Kemp, Republican of Michigan, Democrat Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. Gentlemen, thanks to you both. We heard Jon Karl say so far no tangible progress in your negotiations. Congressman Kemp, let me start with you. Are you making any progress? What specifically have you agreed on?
Well, we've really just begun our discussions, and we're really trying to set the parameters of the debate and the issues that we're going to face. But I think it is so important that we prevent a tax hike so that we can get this economy moving again and get job creation going again. We've been stuck at high unemployment for more than 15 months, and so that's why this is such a critical time. And we're talking, and we're going to continue to do that.
And Congressman Van Hollen, I know that one of the top priorities for the Democrats, of course, is extending those unemployment benefits. Many Republicans say they want to do that. They just want to see it paid for, including Senator Scott Brown of Massachusetts. He came up with a proposal yesterday saying just take the money that is sitting around inside government coffers right now and isn't being spent. Here's what he said.
Bank account, credit card. How about you folks up there? Bank account, credit card. Okay? I know what I want to do. I'll use the bank account. Let's use money that's already in the system and put it to good use immediately.
What's wrong with that?
George, is that you?
Yeah, go ahead. Respond.
We need to do right away today pass the unemployment compensation. We had a vote in the House a short time ago. Unfortunately, our Republican colleagues did not support it. As your economist said, when you're in an economic downturn, we have traditionally made sure that people who are thrown out of work through no fault of their own can get the unemployment compensation. It makes no sense in the world to be taking money out of the economy at the same time when you're trying to make sure that there's a push in the economy through making sure that these people continue to have the ability to pay their rent, go to the store and put food on the table. So that's why we have the so-called counter-cyclical impact of unemployment compensation to begin with.
Congressman Kemp, this is a lifeline for the people on unemployment right now, and it's important to our economic recovery.
Well, George, as Scott Brown said, we want to do this in a responsible way. Republicans are for extending unemployment benefits, and if we're serious about it, let us have an opportunity to vote on a bill that is paid for. In the House, what's done is they bring a bill, but it's restricted. We can't vote for an unemployment bill that's paid for. Let us do that. If we do that, I'm sure it'll get bipartisan support, it'll pass, and we'll take care of the problem.
No way to pay for it, Congressman Van Hollen?
But, George, let me just, we were talking about the tax issue a little earlier. So these guys say you've got to pay for about $13 billion in emergency unemployment compensation for people who are out of work through no fault of their own, but they want a permanent extension of the tax cuts for the folks at the very top, which adds $700 billion, and they don't want to pay one dime for that. So this is the kind of conversation we've been having up here, and hopefully we can sort our way through it.
That does seem to be a double standard, Congressman.
Well, it is about preventing a tax hike, and that's the issue. It's about preventing a tax hike. These are benefits that we want to see paid for. We've got an opportunity to do that. If we could get a chance to vote on a tax bill that actually prevented the tax hikes, I'm sure it would pass. But again, they're going to bring a bill to the floor that's restricted. We won't have an opportunity to offer something that actually will have a working majority and move it on to the
George, let me just stop you one thing, because I'm listening to both of you right now, and this is the similar talking points what we've heard from each side for several weeks and months right now. The clock is ticking. We're right up against these deadlines. And you two are actually in the room negotiating a deal. It sounds like you're farther apart than ever. Bottom line, are you going to reach a deal or not?
Well, George, we're working very hard to do it. But the first thing we need to do is work through the process. The President and the House Democrats have a very clear position on this. We want to make sure that we expand tax cuts for the middle class. And I should also point out that every single American gets a tax break from that. In fact, under that plan, if you're over $250,000, you still benefit from all the tax relief up to $250,000. So every American gets tax relief. It's just they don't get this bonus $100,000 per average for millionaires tax cut. So that is our position. Now, whether we can get that through the Senate is another question. And we have begun these conversations in the event that we're not able to move immediately on those middle-class tax cuts, which is the fiscally responsible thing to do.
Congressman Kemp, you get the last
George,
word.
Yeah, it's not about the deal. It's about getting the right policy. And frankly, if we don't get this done, the first thing I'm going to do as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee is bring a bill that extends, make sure we don't have a tax hike for any American.
Yeah, and that will add $700 billion to the deficit. At the same time, we're trying to get our fiscal house in order. We have a debt commission about to report on the
gotta
crisis
say,
we're facing.
We're out of time now. I had a lot more hope for a deal before this conversation than after, but thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thank you.